Welcome back to the pirate. Well, I did miss the last video because basically I got a few things I had to deal with myself, and basically yeah, so there's plenty to come because there has been plenty happening. So we're starting back on the outside window today. We're just going to give that a spray over. That's where we left it last time, sealing this window up. I've got the other ones to do, we know that, but I'm going to do them. But I've also been tackling a bit in the aft cabin as well, because we need to get that done. But we're going to have a little general walk around where we are and get this thing back on the road again. Yeah, so let's have a look what we've got. You can see I've masked up the windows ready. They've all been sanded down. I'm just going to give them a brush over. I've only just lightly masked these up. This is all going to be sanded at a later date. This is going to be done with a completely different paint, so it'd be white, non-slip. I've got it already, and that includes this as well. So let's get some spray on here. Yeah, it's just going to be a light spray for the first coat over. I'm basically using one of these 10-year guaranteed paints, Max watercolour. Basically it's a gloss black in and out. Get the lid off. It's been shaken up already. A very, very light spray. That's all we need. I'm not too worried about a little bit going over the tape. It's always got to be sanded, but we'll prevent it as much as we can. You don't want too much on to start with, just enough to give it the second coat something to grip to. Number one. We give that a couple of hours, and we put on number two. Now, the thing to remember this is when number two goes on, we give that a few more hours, we'll take off the tape, and then we'll let it harden off for a few days, and then we just go over the frame with a little buffing polish, basically just to harden up the surface. We've still got the outside bits to do, all the white obviously to sand down at some point, but at least we can tick the frame off as done. We do need to give this frame a few days to harden off, and then we'll put a polishing buff over the top just by hand, just to harden it up. This come off easy. That's just where the tape's been, a little bit of overspray, a bit of finish to take it off, but it's got to be sanded anyway, so no big deal. Well, while I'm sitting at the end of this ladder, on top of this ladder. I've just took the masking tape off the windows, so that now needs to dry. Give it a few days and we give that a good buff really before we put the seal on, and then we can use it as a masking for the side. However, I've had quite a few questions come through, not through YouTube, more through Facebook, and I have a website as well, but it's not a very good website. It's being built at the moment, it's still ongoing, but I've had a few emails come through, and I'm going to answer a lot of these questions, and I'm going to put it in another video. There is quite a few questions actually, and I have answered them all individually. I always answer them. If you send me an email or contact me anyway, I'll contact you back. If you want to ask a question, send me a comment. But there's a few interesting questions about where we're going with this over the rest of the summer, into the winter and into next year. Everything from water tanks to engines to everything, and basically some subscribers, the possibility of some people maybe want to visit next year. That's fine, you know. I'll answer them all for you. There's been another video where we can then really talk about some of the stuff I've already purchased, and we'll go over it, how it's going to go in and what we're going to do. There has been a few changes of plans, what I'm going to do from the inside, mainly to the diesel tanks. I just don't know what to do with massive tanks. I've now got some great ideas for them, so we'll put another one out, but it won't be a numbered video, it'll just be an update video. I don't know what we call it, you know, update plan at the end of the ladder, I don't know, something like that anyway. Right, next. Right, where do we start? The first place is, we need to look at these floors. I'm going to get a board cut. I need to measure this, and then bingo, get some board cut and get some battens in, get the floor down. This is my drawing. That's as technical as this is going to get, I'm afraid. I'm cutting the board for this. Getting these angles right. So basically I'm trying to make this my little drawing. That's the shape of the floor. Okay, 85, give it a go. That is okay. Bear in mind you've got a floor to go on top of it. It's got to come up a bit. When we batten it out, we're going to batten it out to raise this end just a tad. So we're nice and square, like this one. But we've got all the battens to put in. But I actually have a floor. We don't just put a board down. I've got a wood preserver, just a standard wood preserver. And just going to roll this on. Let it dry into the wood, and I'll put another one on after. That's on the underside. Seal the whole lot. I mean, I could resin it, but I don't think where we're going really needs it. It's really a dry area. This. It's not like a shower wall. But basically, put this on, let it dry. Basically we let that soak right into the wood, and then we do the other side as well. Both sides get done twice over. It's basically a water proofer. It's basically a wood preserver. It's a standard wood preserver. Soaks right in. It's going to be in a dry area anyway, but better safe than sorry. Every single board on the boat, even the big ones in the cabin, will get an under and over treatment before they're fixed down properly. so we know they're treated and we know they're good. Right, let this dry. Okay, so this is basically where the floor's got to be. You know, we're not too far out in the bubble there. It does go along a little bit, but basically if you look, the little problem we're going to have here now is when we put another 12mm on this, that door isn't going to fit back in. So I'm thinking it's a shower room, we've got a very shallow edge there, and I think water can go over this. So maybe we'll put another little piece in here. We're just going to bring it up, say 12mm, and here, and then we'll cut the door down to suit. But this is our little issue at the moment. We've got to get this wall prepped and get these buttons tucked. Buttons, I mean, it was buttons would be easier, wouldn't it? Anything what you put in your boat, especially if it's going to go into the bottom, always give it a little bit of wood preservative. These are the battens what the floor will go on, but just treat them all, soak them up, let it soak right in. It's just, I know it's at a dry area where it's going, but every board will get done. Let's get the grinder, grind a few bits off. This wall's pretty much done. Yeah, okay. Let's get going. Now I've taken off this top strip for the ceiling line, so I can get these bits out here. That's when you can see where the strip goes. But what I want to do is wall is that before we put any veneer on this, we need to think about a switch what comes down here and a switch box, because I want the WC area, the shower room, the switch on the outside. Now the door does open this way, it comes out towards us here, but that doesn't matter. There's a switch there, we'll operate the light in the shower room. I don't want anything on this wall because this is, you're passing this wall. So I've got toggle switches, so I don't want to have something what you can catch on the way out. And then just here will be a wall light, so we're going to take another chase down here for our cable. Then we get the cables in, and then we can get that. We just use some wood fill to get over the cables. We sand that back, and then we're good to put a veneer on that wall. And we're good to put a veneer on that wall. Okay, so we've got a 16mm box now. I think I'll get away with it. I do believe that this is an 18mm panel. So if I set my router to just around 15, I think we're good. So, well, if we go through, we go through. So I set it to about here. I think that's about right. So we'll find out in about 5 minutes. And I think if I look at there, the heights of the switches are about there, so it leaves a shorter chase. I think this one wants to be a bit higher though. So if we go, we'll give it a go. Right, let's talk about the wiring for a little 30 seconds. Now, the wiring's in on this wall. We need to do a little bit more sanding. This bit has been taken out. This needs to be veneered, this wall, because we can't put this base in until that's veneered as far down as possible. In the bottom section of this wall, we'll have basically a resin of some sort go over the bottom, because it's the bottom of a shower wall. So then we're working round here. So basically this one just needs veneering. This is your switch wire for the bathroom, washroom, shower room, bathroom, a bath in here. This is for a wall light, which is switched from there. This is basically a loop and a switch which goes in up the top there, and it comes in about these panels which will eventually be taken down. Whether I put a lights in the top or on the side, I don't know. That's a decision I've got to make. Looking round here now, we're going to talk about the tank when we get to it, but I know what we're doing, and we'll also talk about how we're going to do the bedding areas. There'll be a high seat, I think, but a big bed. This diesel tank holds thousands of litres of diesel. There's absolutely no need for it to be of any use on this boat for normal use, so it's become a reserve tank. So being a reserve tank, I don't need return pipes, I don't need any of this at all. I can have all this welded and sealed. The only one I'm going to keep is at the bottom, which I'll show you just here. That looks like a drain plug. I think that's going to be useful because we ever had to drain the tank. This one here we'll cut off and seal up. These can come off, and this one here would have been a return, I do believe. That's also going to come off and be sealed up. Then that will allow us to board this over once that's all been welded and sealed up. Just this one here going to be in use, so I'm going to cut them off, and well, I'm going to cut them off because we don't need them. Right, a little bit of grind, that will just flatten. These need to go completely flat to the board. Well, not completely, I would say flat enough so we can get them pop welded and good. Get this one off here. I want to see if this bung comes loose down here. I know it's hard to see for the camera, I know it is. To see if it does actually still work. Right, something. I might not bother with that. I might use this instead. I can do something with this. This one here I might just I'm not going to bother. I think that's probably been in there forever. And this one here I think we can use as our supply pipe. We might have to drill a bit bigger, put another valve in there. So that's going to be a bit of a pig, to be honest. I'd much rather have that one. I'm going to give that another go. Right, a little bit of gas. I don't want to give it too much heat. I just want to get it off. So awkward underneath this bit of metal. Unbelievable. It would just get it to move. I might try a socket on it, I don't know. That don't want to move, does it? That's not coming out. I don't want to put too much heat on it because it's marine aluminium. I think I'm going to just leave this for the time being and hit this with a drill, and I'm going to drill that out. I want that plug and I want the thread, so I think I'm just going to drill it out. And if I drill it out, it might actually unscrew. Let's give it a go. Let's get a drill. Let's get a drill. That ain't even touching it. What's next? What can I try? I can't get past this. I can't get a socket on it. Oh, I don't know. After battling around for about half an hour trying to get that nut loose and everything else, and I put the heat gun on it in the end. What the heat gun showed up is that it took the paint off, and basically this has been actually welded in. So you're not getting it off, it's not coming off. This one we can cap off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just buy a new valve, and I will put it in somewhere probably next to it, can follow the same run through. So that's going to be on the list to do. We now move on. We also need to look at putting some bands up at some point very soon for the electric boards, doing something with these floors. You know, we need to bring this aft into the job big time. Now, if people have been watching this from the beginning know what the next part of this actually is. I'll now pound it down with a rotary sander so we can flatten it all off. I'll see how we get on with this piece here. If this comes out okay, we'll leave it. Up to here, this piece here, this comes out to here. So this will be battened out. This will be inside of a cupboard or something, so it's not going to actually be seen. But we'll do it anyway, we'll varnish it anyway, and then the whole base completely around this side will be, we're using a resin and roll over the top once the varnish is set, just to give it that extra bit of protection, as I don't want any damp creeping in underneath the veneer, possibly from the shower room leak or something, you just don't know. So we've got the wall light ready, the switch is now cut ready. We'll now pound this with a sander the whole way down, and then we'll go over again with the iron, and then we'll hit that piece there, and then we're going to come around and just do this piece here. Then we'll sand everything back what we've done, and we'll put a coat of varnish straight over the top, satin polymer. Right, sander. That's day two. I came away from the tank for a little bit. I do have the valve now, so I'll show you that valve because I like it, and I'll put a link in where I've got it from as well. I think it's going to be a very useful valve for people who are doing things like I'm doing, like trying to get things into tanks. It comes as a kit. So we'll look at that in a little while, but what I decided to do was get the veneers on the back wall, because I can't do anything with the floors until the veneers are done and they're varnished, at least to a certain point, so I can get the boards in. Then we can look more at the back again, because I've got to get these floors down. I've just got to do it. So let's have a look what we've got. So this wall, as you know, has been done, but we've now put another coat on there. This wall has now been done as well, so this has had one coat on. Coming around, this wall here has also been done and had one coat on, and I've put my usual masking tape on. I've put the masking tape on because on the hardwood frames it's a different varnish. It's a Hempel Duragloss which goes on these eventually, which really will bring it out. Plus I've got all the trims to put in at some point, which I have got stacks of, but that'll be a trim day. But yeah, we need to get this done. Let me show you the varnish quickly. I have shown you before. I've used this before. I will put a link in again to this, so people who have watched this series will know what this is. But it's basically a polyurethane varnish. It's a satin. I don't want a shiny finish on the walls. I want just an off shine finish. So I want the trims to shine, not so much the wall. But the beauty about this stuff is it is polyurethane. So for boats, for something like this, it's very, very good at resisting moisture. And so when you get to the end of your veneers, you put a heavier coat on just around the edges as you're coming around the tops and the sides and around these sections here. Just go a little bit heavier, and that will really soak into it, and that will prevent moisture getting in and lifting it. Once the veneers have been on for a couple of weeks, they won't lift. There's no chance I'll get these off. They'll be as tough as the stuff I took off originally. And I mean, and that took me weeks, as you well know. So now I'll put a link into this. We've got the valve for the tank. I'll put a link into that as well, and I'll show you that valve. We'll go over it. And yeah, we're masked up, we're ready to go. My usual trick I use a black bag, here's my roller and stuff, which has been in preservation all night. And to save, keep using trays, I just use a plastic old shopping bag, these like dolly bags, but yeah, put the varnish in there, and we'll whack on the third coat. Once we've done the third coat, we can't stay in this ruin. This is polymer. We do need, if you ever use this stuff, one of those little paper masks ain't going to do it. You need to use something like this. This is powerful stuff, as it's said. It takes about an hour for the fumes to, as the surface becomes dry, the fumes will die down, but when it first goes on, this will blast your brains out. This is headache stuff. Right. Right, that's all them 3 walls, 3 coats on each. You've got to vacate the room. That stuff, like I say, you've got to use these. Not paper ones, just aren't going to crack it with that. And it's really strong stuff, but the odour will go. And I'll probably put it up on the screen, but basically the brush stroke is to keep the air out of the varnish. It's as simple as that. When you roll it on, you get a nice even flow. I've put it on a bit thicker today because the temperatures are warmer. When I first started to do the polymer, I put it on thinner because the temperatures were a lot colder. There was around 15 to 20. I could keep it in here. Today it's already over 20 in this boat, so I put it on a little bit thicker, and then I just fan it off with the brush. It's called tip and rolling, very commonly used on boats, to be honest, and the results are pretty good. So it needs 1 more to go, so we give that a couple of hours. We get back in that room, and it gives us time to have a look at some other little bits and pieces which we've got for the boat. Okay, let's have a look at these. Right, I'm going to show you the valve. Now these valves come from America. I'll get them off Amazon US. They're about £25 each. I've got a couple of these. I need to get 2 more really. But what I like about these valves is I will put a link in, by the way, about what this valve actually is, where it comes from. But basically what they do is I've got a make on here, I can't find the make, it's something like a Horiznext or something, but I'll put it all in the link. I'll put it actually in this screen so you can, you know, it's one of the weird names. But anyway, when they turn up, it comes a little kit. So this is for your 13mm pipe, which will be a diesel pipe. And also you can use these on water. These are actually designed for water. But inside these, you've got like, I've actually put it in already, there's a silicone seal will go to the bottom. So you put your PTFE on and you lock this in so it touches the seal, and then you just lightly lock it up. That's enough. It's exactly the same on the other end. You've got no, basically, it comes all in one go. There's your seal there. So this one again, that locks in. PTFE tape, which actually does come with the valve, that locks in there. You drill a hole in the tank, you have a silicone seal either side, so that slots through there, that goes in the tank, the locking nut goes on. And when I put the locking nuts on in things like tanks, water tanks, anything like that, I use a bit of resin around the nut as well on the inside, just to make sure that isn't going anywhere. But basically it's good quality, it's going to do the job. And the maintenance of this is simply once every few months, just open the handle and close it. Okay, I'll put a link in. with the electrics now slowly on the verge of some actually going in, we need to think about moving all that stuff from this side and putting it over this side, because we need to start thinking about our workstation bay, which I want to start to use within the next few weeks. So I'm going to get this stuff moved over there, then we'll look at these panels. Okay, so we've got this cable here. This is actually a 2.5, but you could get away with 1.5. And there here is Cat 6. It is a Cat 6. This one here, this one here will basically end up in here like this, into a single box, and this one will pull through. This will end up in the double box, so you'll end up with a double socket, and here we'll end up with a Cat cable for the netgear, which will be all over this boat. Right, got to get some boxes in here, haven't we? Right, first things first, I've learnt the lesson the hard way. By the way, before I mentioned, this is actually domestic pump cable, which is absolutely brilliant for electrics in boats with stuff like this. It's designed to go underwater and do all sorts of weird stuff, and you can get it off the shelf. I'll put a link in for that, I think, as well, because it saves you a fortune if you're doing any 230 volt stuff. But basically it is extremely tough cable, so we make the end off ready, then we ain't got to be sitting there playing about when we put the box, and the box is actually in. So for now we'll just rubber grommet in the box. We're just going to whop that in there, and that's going to sit just there, just for the time being. That's plenty there for a socket, and then that will go along here and out there. The board will bomb in front of that. So just for now, a couple of temporary screws just to hold this, just to hold the box. These are obviously have to come out when we take this board off, but that's fine. Yeah, that will sit just behind the plastic anyway. This one is exactly the same. We'll bring a little bit more of this in here. I think they haven't got to be absolutely level at the moment, because they're going to be moved slightly once the fascia goes on. Little thing about these boxes, I mean, I don't want to teach people to suck eggs, but you've got two types of screws on here, threads. Use the one what's got the adjuster on it. Then that way, if your socket's not quite straight, you can adjust it with that. I'm not really sure what these are for. You do get 4 plate grids. So this one just needs to be folded back. That's in there. This is actually the first wires going in a boat, believe it or not, apart from the temporaries. They can sit in there like that. There's plenty. I won't actually, I'm not going to clamp that in, because if I need to pull a bit more through, I'll be able to pull a bit through behind this. So this one here, I won't have a lot of choice. So, but I think with a bit of a bond, some clamps, this one will line up ready to go, and the fascias will go on there. We want to try and get it so it's level to this. Bear in mind there's a trim to go around the bottom. Right, clamp and bond, clamp and bond. This is the back of what we're putting on. This is obviously the front. We're going to take off, we'll take this off later, but basically this is where the bond's going to go on this side. This is the front. This is just a protective film which will come off maybe today, probably not today, but just so you know, that's what it will look like from the front. inside of that box just there, just so it's got a little fixing once we take screws out. Something was breakable. We've got to try and get this so it's level with that. That's it. And level here. Not so important here because we can shape that down if we want. We know that's dead straight, so we know we're in the right place. I might get another piece of wood just for this. That's level with this, that's good enough. It hasn't got to be perfect, but it's got to be good enough. Right, I think I'll get another little piece of wood to go here. So, that one will sit here. We want it to come, that's not too bad. We've got a plate to go on there. This one here, and this one here, this is going to be for a 65 watt USB and C. And this one will just be standard, straightforward, like cigarette lighter type, where you can get adapters to go into them if you need to. And but these are going to be for switches. Now we already know that we will be switching on a light from here as well, but we'll also use the switch to turn on the 12 volts as well from here, so we can isolate these points if we want to. So and there's a third switch, which I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with yet, but I've got a funny feeling it might just be for another lighting circuit. So we haven't got that far yet, but that's all 12 volt. This back panel's all 12 volt, all accessible from below. I've got to try and keep it the same height. Got the CT one there. Let's try and push that back a little bit. Yeah. A little bit of thinners. We'll take that off. Push it down a little bit. That's about the same, that's about right. Now just try and push it in. That's good. That's good enough. We've got some plastic trim to go in the corner. That's on here, that's on here. A bit more weight just here. That's got it actually, but let's just put something there anyway. Let's use some of my marine stock. Just for now. That'll do. Every bit helps. Job done. We give that about probably half an hour, 40 minutes or so. We're ready to take these clamps off. That ain't going anywhere at all. And yeah, we have our first cables gone in the boat. They haven't gone anywhere yet, but they have actually gone in the boat. Okay, let's have a look where we are. We can't do a lot down that section at the moment. We're waiting for the satin to dry. We've got some bits and pieces dried in there, but that is where we'll probably be keeping on, moving on to, and whatever we need to do. Over here we have these panels now. They're bonded. We can take these covers off, I think, probably next time, and look at putting some bits and pieces in here shortly. Not too much longer. This one is the next one to go in over here, because this is going to be needed for the pumps, and we need the pumps to run the water heaters and stuff, which we're going to need at some point. But basically, yeah, we're moving on. Let's have a quick look at the outside. But let's just have a quick look where we are on the outside, because there's been a little bit of development which I'm going to share with you. This side I have been tinkering with, and we're not looking too far away on the grey. We've still got the room to do on the outside. This will be the first part to be painted. It'll be the blue on this side all the way around this strip here, and the reason for that is, once this is primed on the top ready for the non-slip, I need to get the blue on first, because I can't put the white on without the blue. So there'll be a strip going all the way around here, all the way around the boat on the top side. This is the first side to be, first section to be done. on the blue. We're not looking too bad here. A little bit more sanding required this side, and then we'll probably paint, this is next few weeks, this section here up to here, down to here on both sides, and that allows me to then concentrate on the main panel all the way through in one go. I think the back will be the first bit, the actual stern of the boat will be first. This is the side I'm still playing around with. There's a lot of stuff here. You can just see walking around, I'm still doing some filling, some bits and pieces, but we're not too far away. I'd say a whole day on the grey would be good. I'd say a whole day on the grey, and then I think we'll be good to go. Put more grey on the top, get that flattened, and then we'll be good on that as well for the white. We're working through the inside slowly. We've got the first cables, first wire went in today. The workstation panels are in. They need to basically just set, cure, and I think we could actually look at putting some of them switches in, to be honest. Fuse panel, not fuse panel, the switch panel to the side of the helm, that needs to go on next, because there's going to be a couple of switches we're going to have to run up to for that. We need to keep on moving on with the aft, because that's going to become a living accommodation at some point, or a day accommodation I would call it, or weekend accommodation, whatever you need to call it. But yeah, we're looking okay. Anyway, a bit of a delay this time round on this video, because I had to take a bit of a break. If anybody looks at my background with this, you'll probably understand why. But we're back on this. We've done quite a lot in a few weeks. Didn't really have enough to put something together. On the next video, there's going to be, I've had a lot of questions come through, like I've said, and I'm going to get them answered, and I'm going to go over a few bits which I've already purchased and what they're for, and the reason I've got them and stuff like that, and answer a few bits. Anyway, take care, thank you, and thanks for your views, thanks for the subscriptions.